Hi, my name is Logan Johns. I'm one of the product managers at Norco Bicycles.
I'm PJ Hunton, engineering manager here at Norco Bicycles.
And we're here today to talk to you about the new Search XR gravel bike. Norco started designing gravel bikes before it was really a thing. We were a leader in this emerging category back in 2013. We were just driven by the personal need to have a bike that we could ride anywhere. Something that was at home on the road, but we could also take in some trail, and we could also take on the miles of gravel dikes that we have in and around Norco.
It was really the proliferation of disc brakes that allowed us to make this bike. Just getting the braking performance we needed on a bike that could accommodate such large tires and generate so much traction.
The original Search got quite a bit of praise. We even won some awards. In 2016, we won a Design and Innovation Award, as well as getting top honors from Velo News for in the gravel category. We wanted to harness this momentum from the first Search, take everything we've learned since 2013, all the new technology, all the bits that are out there, as well as all the compliments and criticisms that we got, and really harness that and create the best bike ever. The first thing we started with was the geometry. The original geometry was very well received, but we thought we could make it a little bit more aggressive to increase the performance and increase the fun factor. The bikes are a little bit longer and a little bit lower now, so you can more easily weight that front wheel when things get a little bit loose. We've also slackened the head tube angle ever so slightly to give it a little bit more confidence in downhills.
But we didn't go crazy. We kept it in check without making it full enduro, long, low, and slack, so that it's still a great road bike and is nice and comfortable on long 10-hour epics. The frame and fork structures on this bike are made from high modulus carbon, and we're using all the advanced manufacturing processes that we've evolved to over the past decade. Armor-light resin keeps the frame super tough and durable, and then the entire frame's manufactured with our smooth core process, which ensures wrinkle-free inner surfaces, which really just allows us to make an extremely strong and light bicycle frame.
So we take all that carbon tech and we put it into our power chassis design. Basically what that is trying to create a really stiff lateral structure as the backbone of the bike. So we start with a really large tapered head tube, oversized down tube, large press fit bottom bracket, and really tall, stiff chainstays.
Speaking of the chainstays, the complex shape of the drive side stay requires us to put a stiffening rib in the stays to help keep the back end of the bike really stiff for good drive efficiency.
Now we do need to temper that stiffness to make sure the bike's still comfortable for long rides. We have lots of experience using our Arc Endurance stays over the past several years on multiple projects, and they've been very, very effective in doing that. So of course when we went to design this bike, we included our Arc Endurance stays.
And one of the things we did was took some learning from the tactic that we developed a few years ago, and we removed the seat stay bridge. With a bike that only runs disc brakes, we can remove that bridge, and what we found was that it greatly increased the vertical compliance and the comfort of the bike without really taking away from any of the drive efficiency.
So it just made sense to incorporate that little bit of technology and remove the brace on the stays on the new Search XR. And what we've got is a bike that is amazingly efficient to ride, but very smooth and very comfortable on long hauls. So we size scale our tubing to make sure that a bigger bike is actually going to be a bit stiffer for those heavier, larger riders. We make the tube set smaller on our smaller bikes so that they're not too stiff for a lighter, smaller rider. We wanted to have lots and lots of tire clearance, but we also wanted to make sure we had enough chainring clearance for a lot of different setups, whether you're running a 1x setup or a 2x setup. So what we did is we actually ended up lowering our stays, dropping them like we do on the Torrent mid-fat. This creates a lot more space in that area so that we can still have a strong chainstay, but have enough room down there to run up to a 42C tire. we ended up with actually enough tire clearance that you can actually run 27.5 by 2.1 tires, like I've got right now. If you really want to start to push the limits of what you can do with a road bike off-road, there are a ton of custom little bits and pieces on this bike. We've been using an integrated chain catcher for a good number of years, but what we did was update it, make it a bit more robust, make it more effective at keeping your chain in place. We're using our Gizmo 2.0 internal cable routing system, which will accommodate everything. 4mm, 5mm, every different kind of electronic system that's on the market right now. And it actually has 4 different points or areas that you can put cables in there. So if you're running a dropper post, there's even enough room in there to run an internal route. In fact, our Force 1 build, our top end build, is going to come with a dropper post. And what we've done is actually modify a SRAM shifter, the left-hand shifter, and used it as the remote control for the dropper. So instead of operating your front derailleur, it simply operates your dropper post. It's a pretty cool little hack that we've actually incorporated into one of the spec bikes.
Totally. Speaking of hacks, our resident hack specialist, Terry Brown, who's the lead designer on this bike, came up with a great little way that you can mount an XTR Di2 front derailleur on this bike by designing a custom steel piece that we've had 3D printed, and we'll make that 3D file available for anybody who wants to print their own. So as I said, you can run a Di2 XTR front derailleur and a mountain bike drivetrain on this bike to get an incredible amount of gear range.
So we've made these bikes fully fender compatible. The front fork has all the necessary mounts to run a full fender on there easily. You can run a 40 or 42C tire with a fender. The back has all the mounting points as well. Except, you know, we have been talking about having no seat stay brace on there. So we did come up with a little plastic piece that we affectionately call the Zippity Zap that will strap in place and give you a mounting place where your brace should be for that upper point of your fender. We also at the back have very sleek little dropouts where it looks like there's maybe only one hole available to mount things. But what there is another hole that uses our Ninja bolts that provide an additional mounting point for fenders.
We've tested this bike well beyond the ISO testing standards with the rack on it. So yeah, you're free to put a rack on the bike and do some bike packing.
Sure is hot out here today. So we have 3 different water bottles mounts on the main frame. There are 2 standard ones in the main frame and 1 on the down tube. The one on the inside down tube even has 3 different mounting points on it so that you can lower the bottle if you're running a partial frame bag. The front fork also uses 2 water bottle mounts, so you could in theory add 2 more bottles to the mix. Carbon makes an incredible material to make a gravel bike out of, but so does steel. So we wanted to offer this bike in a steel version as well. So we built one out of Reynolds 725 tubing. So what does that mean? Basically means we can use thinner walls without sacrificing the strength. It's also got a 44mm head tube so that we can use the same high modulus carbon fork that we use on the carbon bikes.
The dropouts use a 12mm through axle and have a flat mount disc brake mounting spot. On the drive side chainstay, we've used a forged yoke to achieve the same tire clearances that we've on the steel bike that you get on the carbon bike. And we're using a BB86 bottom bracket, which also gives us more width and tire clearance as part of the design.
So the Search XR is available in steel and carbon, has a ton of tire clearance, so you can run so many different compatibilities, whatever kind of rubber you're into. It's got a silky smooth ride, really stiff, high performance frame though, a ton of little custom bits and bobs that are in it. Basically makes the best adventure bike ever.